Only those who go where few have gone can see what few have seen. That's Buddha. And if you watched very many of my videos, you know I'm a big fan of that quote. I use it a lot. Yeah, because I'm reminded of it all the time. If you're on the hero's journey, the raw food hero's journey, trying to get people to test an idea as time has come, and you're telling them what's happening to you, they're going to go, oh, I don't believe it. And yet they're talking from a place they've never been. Don't you just love it when someone wants to argue about a place they've never been? That might be the difference between ignorance and stupidity. As Will Rogers said, everybody's ignorant, just on different subjects. But what makes you stupid is when you want to argue about something and you don't know anything about it. So, hey little puppy, how you doing? Where was I? Yeah, people always want to say, no, that's not how it is. I just don't believe it. I don't have any problems. I go every day. And yet when you hear the testimonies of people who take a solid food vacation on nothing but juices, and they're seeing a lot of stuff coming out of them for long periods of time, and it's obvious it's not fiber and it's not bacteria. My God, you're talking from a place you've never been, and you start saying what it is and you haven't even done it. Guarantee you, man, the stuff I saw come out of me wasn't the fiber and it wasn't the bacteria. There's some nasty stuff inside of us. Reminds me of Harvey Kellogg rather, had the Kellogg Sanitarium. He said that out of the 22,000 operations he personally performed, he saw no normal healthy colons, not one normal healthy colon. And out of the 100,000 performed under his jurisdiction, less than 6% were normal. Think about that. This was almost 100 years ago or so, before the chemical revolution kicked in. The industrial revolution kicked in, and we started eating processed foods, and they were still eating some back then, but nothing like we are today. So imagine what kind of condition we are in right now. And yet you'll go to the experts, right, the GI specialists, and they're going to convince you or try to talk about something, and it's a place they've never been. Only those who go where few have gone can see what few have seen. Don't believe in this poppycock when you hear people say it doesn't exist. Heed the words of Aristotle. Believe only your own experience. There is no fact like a fact learned from your own life. And my favorite Chinese proverb, I hear and I forget, I see and I remember, I do and I understand. I did it, now I've been to a place I wasn't before and I understand. Imagine someone telling you about a country and they've never been there before. Oh, I read all about it. Well, that might help a little bit. Not the same thing as actually going there and experiencing it, is it? So, the hero's journey can be very challenging. You're going to come up against people who haven't even done what you're talking about, and they're going to want to argue with you. Again, we're all ignorant, but to argue about something because our so-called experts said it makes you a fool. Meaning that you've been fooled, you've been tricked, just like they've been tricked. I'll never forget, I coached a gastroenterologist a while back, actually quite a while back. Very reluctant student because his son made him do it. So most of the doctors, well, all the doctors I coach, it's a treat because they're thirsty for knowledge, but not this guy. He didn't really want to know much, but I'll never forget on day 21, when I asked him how many bowel movements he had the day before, he said, I had the biggest bowel movement I've had in my entire life. Where is this coming from? You tell me, doc. You're supposed to be the expert. Why don't these guys know this? Well, you know why. We're damaged. We've got sick people in control. What all of us learn, especially our so-called experts. That's why it's a big piece of the puzzle to understand. That's why you got to empty your cup and accept the mission on the hero's journey if you haven't done it. 5 stages on the hero's journey. Do you have the ears to hear? Second step, according to Mission Impossible. I accept the mission. I'll test an idea as time has come. I'll prove to myself whether I'm clean or not. And if you don't see anything, don't go around saying, I know it doesn't exist. Well, you might be that less than, I'm sure it's way less than 6% now, of people who have normal colons. And I'm willing to bet that probably a very high percentage, I'm not sure how high, 60, 70% or more, of the people who have normal colons are probably only eating one meal a day. If you only eat one meal a day, you can get away with eating a lot worse stuff. It's the stuff that we're putting in pound time after time after time that overwhelms the whole system. And that's why we end up with a serpent in our body. Most people don't want to admit that that exists. And yet when you get rid of that filth, and that's what it is, it's filth, when you get rid of that nasty stuff, the transformation you go through is incredible, especially if you have any amount to come out of you. I had a 20-pound cesspool in me. When I was 40 years old, it took me 3 months, the most exciting 90 days of my life. I wish I could relive those 90 days. Every day was so exciting to wake up and have something horrible coming out of me. And you feel instantly, oh, amazing. I'm telling you, of all the places I've ever been, taking a solid food vacation and going the distance was the most exciting thing I've ever done in my life. Why do you think I'm so passionate about this? I've done it and have done so for over 1,200 days in the last 25 years. Now, most of this was in the beginning when I was doing research on it. I wasn't eating perfect and I was still plugging up my system. And now I do it usually once a year or so. I'm due for one pretty soon. Just to remind myself, it's more fun than eating, and that's such a hard thing to believe, isn't it? And yet I get the same comments from everybody I've coached. Can't believe I'm not hungry. Can't believe how much energy I have. Can't believe it's really this easy. I thought it'd be really difficult, but it's really a lot easier than I thought. And then, of course, the next one that comes, usually about 3 days after that, I feel like a fog lifted off my brain. Didn't know my brain was so impaired until I actually started thinking clearer again. And then when you go the distance, I'm telling you, just think about it. At the age of 40, I had a 20-pound cesspool in me, and I only had 5.8% body fat. I only had 9 pounds of fat. So it was very obvious that there was something inside me that didn't belong inside me. And when it went away, it was obvious where it was. And I'm telling you, man, we all carry that around in us. And it's not just the last 5 feet. We got 22 feet prior to that can be all gunked up also. That's why I like the solid food vacation on juices, because it flushes all that out, cleans it out. And you'll see a lot of stuff that come out of you that will come out of the small intestines. And again, what are you going to find when you go out there and you try to help people understand they've got a demon in their belly? They're going to want to argue with you, and yet they have never done it. It reminds me, I got to figure out some way to revive this tape. The first time I was on a talk show here in Houston, the Deborah Duncan Show, I'll never forget walking in. It was so funny. All the guys started laughing at me, and they're the cameramen and the directors and stuff. They started laughing and go, boy, you're in for it, buddy. You don't know what you're up against. I go, what do you mean? He goes, you'll find out. And I just kind of laughed to myself saying, I don't know who they are, what they are, because I have no idea who they are. But they don't have a chance. I'm going to come at them from love, and they're just going to, I'm going to tear them apart. And that's exactly what happened. It was so exciting. It was so exciting. This woman was so obnoxious. She kept interrupting me. And it was the best thing that ever could have happened, because everyone called in and said, would you please get that guy back on again, let him talk. He was making some sense. I want to show this because when I went home and watched it, I saw something I didn't see on TV. And it still brings a smile to my face because, like I said, I just came from a place of love. I want to help people. And what are you doing? You're arguing about something you've never done before. At one point, I was explaining to the audience how we have this stuff coming out of us, and then she goes, oh, the diarrhea, those pictures you showed. And I go, what do you mean diarrhea? Have you ever done that? She goes, oh, I'd never do that. And I go, and that's a shame. The audience broke up, roaring in laughter, and that's a shame. But what was really funny for me, because that was just, impromptu, I was sincere, it's a shame. You don't want to say you can't do that. But at the end of the show, I kind of dominated the rest of the show. That brought other people in, and every time someone in the audience asked something, I took over and answered the question. And at the end, they showed this registered dietitian, this lady that was the head of diabetes at the Methodist Hospital, something like that. Totally clueless as to what diabetes is all about. Totally clueless. But they flashed the camera on her while I was explaining how garlic worked. And her lips and eyes were twitching like I blew a fuse. I gotta find a way to revive that somehow, because it's worth showing you guys. It's pretty funny. The quality is just really poor. But the point is, she was trying to talk from a place she'd never been before. Oh, the diarrhea, the bad stuff coming out of you. What are you talking about? You've never done it. Shut the hell up. That's what you got to do when you encounter these kind of people. You got to be aggressive. You got to be dominant about what you're talking about. You got to lay it out. Tell them to shut up. You don't have any solutions. Let me talk. We're getting results. You're not getting results. Anyway, as you can see, I put a lot of thought into planning ahead when I'm going to be on the TV show and have some obnoxious person like that ahead. Again, trying to dominate the airwaves and create straw man arguments and do anything to keep us from talking about the message. And this is what you have to do, like what I want to do. Take charge of that conversation. Tell them to shut the hell up. They're not getting results. We are. All you got to do is test an idea as time has come. Tell them, guys, when you test an idea as time has come, you're in for a treat.